This is the 40U Tech Startups podcast. The podcast in which you hear all about the startups and spin-offs from the 4 technical universities in the Netherlands. From the challenges they face to the ecosystems they accelerate in, here we talk about what it takes to flourish and make impact on an international playing field. Brought to you by the 40U. Welcome to the Dutch 40U Tech Startups podcast. I'm your host Vera Boertien, and today I am joined by Ronald.
Yes. Hello, Vera. How are you this morning?
I'm splendid, yes. Because we're recording this from London and the weather is actually nice. So
it's a pity that we sit inside, but I guess with the podcast that's no other possibility, because otherwise too much noise will come through.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, so to start off, we're in London for a startup mission. The mission is really focused on alumni networks. But to go back to you, who are you and what is your startup?
Yes. Who am I? My name is Ronald de Bruijn. I'm from the Netherlands. I represent also here Wageningen University in that sense, because I'm also a mentor of StartHub. So I mentor startups as well with my vast experience. But I also have founded, I'm a single founder of a startup called RapAgra. And Rap means in Dutch fast. So it's fast agra. It's not the McDonald's type, but it's more that you monitor in a way that you get streaming online data on your field. So that comes to, there I come directly to the purpose of the app. It's an app, it's an iPhone and Android app. It's currently under a review of the Play Store and the Apple Store.
Exciting.
So, very exciting times. So what it is about monitoring plant health of potato plants in the field during the whole growth cycle and yield cycle.
Right.
So what it does is we use a lot of the satellite data. We use a lot of weather data because satellites are not always high quality because of the clouds, etc. Mm-hmm. So based on that, we follow also the plant health with all kinds of data from weather stations, and those parameters are actually the threshold parameters where plants, where we know where plants get into stress because they have a shortage of a nutrient, either NPK or some other nutrients, or a shortage of water, or too much water, mm-hmm. or too high sunlight, too much sun radiation, too much humidity, too low humidity, etc., etc.
Right.
So we monitor that, and we monitor so we can actually see in the field, not just the whole field, but also parts of the field as a minimum size of 10 by 10 meters. And the 10 by 10 meters we can compare amongst each other to see what is the healthiest 100 square meter and what is the unhealthy or less strong, let's say, 100 square meter. And based on that, we can also tell if a disease comes around, where it will have the biggest impact.
Right. So
it means that a farmer that uses this app will have a lot of different choices now than before, because now he can see way in advance where the weak spots in his field are, so he can either decide to do something about it or let it go and spray a lot. Mm-hmm. So it means that for a farmer, the advantage is we guarantee a 30% lower cost on direct cost on spraying and toxics, and we even calculate a much higher saving on the labor that you need to go over the field, as well as energy prices for your tractor and your gear.
Yeah, because the farmers have more data, they can make smarter decisions.
Exactly, and they can just go to that 10 by 10 plot and spray. The next phase, that's actually, for me, it's important, but it does not matter if you use the app or not. We are also creating a camera robot, and that camera robot will drive into the night autonomously over the field, mm-hmm. Whereby we use fluorescent reflections to see in how far the photosynthesis is good or not good, and that is correlated to the health of the plant as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then what brings you to London? Because so far I haven't seen that many fields.
Yeah.
But within the UK, there's
a lot of
more.
potatoes.
Yeah.
A lot of potatoes. As you know, the Irish was almost famine because of the potato disease, which is Phytophthora. So I think together with the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and UK are the potato producers of Europe, let's say. I'm not saying it's exclusively, but also because of the climatic conditions are more or less the same. Therefore, also the diseases that are found here are the same as in the Netherlands. So that actually makes it for us relatively easy to get the validation of the algorithms and the tool working, let's say, in a proper way. And I think UK is a very interesting market for us because it has much more agricultural land than relatively than, for instance, the Netherlands.
Yeah, because it's a lot bigger, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Surface is higher. Yeah.
And is that then the reason why you joined this mission?
That's the reason why I joined this mission. Also, of course, to check the market. Of course, how am I going to enter it?
Right.
But also to see how the competition is evolving here. And also potentially talking to investors. But at this moment, I'm pretty much funded. But a startup always needs money. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. And yesterday we were at the embassy, and they already explained a bit about entering a new market.
Yeah.
Did you get something new out of that? What was the biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway actually is not what they actually told. It's what I actually told while I was explaining. I think that think big is one thing. Reaching 1 million people in 5 years, or the impact of 1 million people in 5 years is another. But if you don't have a home market, then you are all over the place. You can spend a lot of money and not get any revenues out there. So a home market is, I think, very important as your own startup. So you have already a very good reference point, because that's where every launch starts. You need to have trust of the users. So if you that trust you gain by actually having farmers using it in that country. And I know that in the Netherlands, and that's what I was looking for, and that is something that people told me during the drinks time, actually, that a farmer is never on its own. He always has a huge network of other farmers.
Right.
And so if you can make one farmer happy with your tool, then you actually are already pocketing 10 other farmers potentially, let's say.
They'll spread the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they get curious, they use it, especially when they see, it's really working. The yield is higher, plants look healthier, he has less diseases, his costs are lower. So those are the things that really make farmers tell to each other, like, I got this year better yields from my potatoes, and that kind of thing. So that is the word of mouth spread, but that takes a lot of time. So in that sense, you need to be careful with where you are starting, and after that, it's all about marketing, a lot of marketing, and then marketing is if you go to a new country, for instance, like for me in the UK. Then you have to really, we have a saying in the Netherlands, you have to shoot with hail. Right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully you hit the bunny, let's say, right?
Spray and pray.
Yes. Well, pray is something I'm not familiar with, but to spray, yes. But now, in any case, so with marketing, you really have to do some research on the channels you're gonna use.
Yeah.
And in principle, you have to use all of them to see which brings you the biggest effect. And the biggest effect is, of course, measurable. So with online marketing, everything is measurable nowadays. But with leaflets and with magazines concerning potatoes or farming or whatever, you only have to rely on the readers or the memberships of those of those magazines, and not if they read it.
Yeah.
But in principle, that is, I think, to become known. And then you have another set of steps to make. That means servicing. So if you need to talk to those farmers that are your first users, you have to talk to them. You have to see their needs, and if that need fits into the tool. If not, you just say, sorry, this is not for you. I have to go to another one.
Yeah, you have to find the right niche.
Exactly. So that is what I think is very important. That means also, preferably, you need somebody on the floor here in the UK. Maybe not in the beginning, because it's only a 45-minute parable from Schiphol to London. So I don't think in the first instance you need that, but when it really hits the ground hard, then I think you need somebody on the floor here to operate it and to promote it further, I think.
Yeah. And how do you get a foot in the door in a new market?
Well, that's a lot of trial and error, let's say.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, the alumni meeting from yesterday brought me already. The grandfather has a huge amount of potato lands, for instance.
Interesting.
Yes. So I have his number, so I can. At the moment that the app is in the App Store, then that is also the moment that I can contact these people and give them a trial version of this, and then get a lot of feedback.
That's very valuable.
Very much, yeah.
So the alumni networks really helped you as well?
Yes. And I mean, it's not alumni that came to me. It's just by accident that these conversations happen, kind
serendipity.
of, right? Yes, exactly. And it is up to you to drive, to talk to so many people, and but not become careless in that sense. Like, oh, you have no function for me. I'm not going to talk to you. That, you shouldn't do it like that. But it's really like. Well, how shall I say? It's like an organic conversations in that sense.
Yeah.
And people like what the app does and what it stands for, because also it will definitely decrease the environmental pressure of toxics on the land, etc. So it has not just a cost decrease as well as a quality increase of the products on the land, but also it has a social impact on the people around it.
Yeah. And of course, in the Netherlands, we have a huge discussion amongst farmers and the work pressure that they're under. So your app could really help for them.
Yeah.
Do you know if such a thing also happens in the UK?
I know there are the big crops like wheat and barley. Mm-hmm. There are usage of satellites, but they do not give, for instance, advice on what to do. They just show the data.
Yeah, so they keep doing what they always did.
Yes, exactly. And I know that there are some companies that are into that at this moment by using the satellite data to advise on what to do. But I see that that's not enough, because satellite data alone, it just tells you their stress. It just tells you the biomass growth went bad or good, let's say. But then you have no reason why yet. Right? So you have no management information for a farmer on why the stress is there. Right?
Yeah.
And that is something that I haven't seen yet. And nobody is as foolish enough to give advice, let's put it like that, to specialists of their own land. But since labor is a problem, as well as the cost is a potentially big problem.
Yeah.
So there has to be a difference in management. And this is the way to do it, because it's scalable.
Yeah,
you don't need anything to link the app to your land in that sense, and you get that advice, and advice is something that you don't need to follow up, right? I mean,
exactly.
The farmer is the expert, but it is helpful that different data sets are now coming into place instead of just looking at the clouds and say, is it going to rain or not? Because now we have some better data on the field that are not visible with the human eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that really makes a big difference in that sense.
Yeah, so the UK market for you is very interesting.
Definitely interesting. Yeah, definitely interesting. Also because, like I said, potato growers. Also, we are also into another product, which I'm not sure if I can mention. It's not yet there, but we're into the asparagus, which is a upcoming crop in the UK, as I understand. And these are small fields, but for us that doesn't matter, small or big. I prefer even smaller, so we can actually prove our point in that sense. Yeah. And so asparagus in the Netherlands is of course big, the white asparagus, but also the green ones. And it's a different animal, let's say, different plant, because it's a perennial. It's more than 1 year planted in the soil. So that makes it also interesting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So UK is yes important. Netherlands is important. UK is important. Belgium is also a country we're focusing on, and Germany. So those are the big potato producers.
Yeah. And then startups missions like this, they really help you to enter the foreign markets?
They do not help you to enter. They help you in wrapping your mind around the market, let's say.
Right. So it gives a ton of inspiration.
Inspiration as well as information, what to do, what not to do. But the proof of the eating is in the pudding. The proof. Anyway, so the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's say so. There are many people that are living here, maybe not in agriculture. A lot of people from Delft, etc. They have different jobs than in agriculture. But the ones that I spoke from Wageningen University, for instance, here, they know the markets. Some do, some don't. Some are in different business funnel. So in that sense, gathering up what they say about the market is interesting. It sometimes is contradictory even, but in that sense, it is still a trial and error. And I'm really trying to use their network to get these first users in. Yeah,
so it gives lots of new insights, new connections.
Exactly.
That can help you further.
Yes, exactly. So it's not the direct contact, but it's the indirect contact that makes it work in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so far on this mission, we went to the embassy, we went to Imperial College, we had the alumni event and the alumni breakfast.
Yeah.
What is the most valuable thing you learned so far?
Well, this morning, the breakfast is, you really have the time and you speak to people, let me say, 1 out of 3 that I haven't spoken to yesterday evening. So that's interesting. The 2 people that I already spoke to briefly yesterday were now going into depth into these conversations. So that and also the talk about their networks and also about their backgrounds makes it understandable who you're talking to, as well as what he or she can mean to you in that sense.
Yeah.
So the depth conversations this morning and the more brief conversations yesterday, that gives me a lot of information on how to enter. So that's actually my takeaway from this mission.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, when we talk about expanding to the UK, of course, a couple of years ago, we had Brexit. Before Brexit, I used to come here quite often, and then this is the first time since Brexit,
right?
Since Brexit that I'm here again.
Yeah.
My mind is always I'm always thinking about food. So how did it change dynamics of expanding? Is it still a good idea to expand to the UK, or is it? Are there a lot more dangers that come along with it?
No, I think I was here last year with London Tech as well, and that was the first trial, my first trial for this 4TU mission, and I have to say, I thought this time was better organized, and I really think that the alumni network representing all these universities and all, it's not about the universities itself, it's about the bonding and about the business funnels all these people are in.
Yeah.
And that makes it wildly interesting, but also it's a huge, it's like LinkedIn, for instance, right? If LinkedIn says in 10 network connections, you can meet the president.
Yeah.
Right? And this feels a bit the same in that sense. And it is all about then to get people promoting you and your tool. And that is about enthusiasm and energy and well, bringing the right story, I think.
Yeah. So with the alumni network, Brexit doesn't even matter. You could still go to the UK.
Exactly. Well, if you want to found a company here, I think that's a completely different ball game. So if you really want to sell hardware, I think you really have to establish a company here. Mm-hmm. But for the app alone, I think we can still ride it with the same company in the Netherlands. And then hire somebody in a later stage on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. So Brexit, that really does not withhold me of entering the market for London, if England, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I think if I want to work here, it's going to be much more difficult because of the visa, etc. So I'm not even contemplating that. It's just that I think it's a very interesting market, and Brexit does not withhold me in that sense.
No, well, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. We're now at the final day of our mission.
Yeah.
We had breakfast.
Yes, in Brexit.
We had an alumni breakfast, and this afternoon we're going to visit another company.
Yeah, I'm going to Monolith. Yeah,
Monolith.
Yeah.
And in the evening we'll have a Founders to Founders event. What are you hoping to get out of this mission?
Well, I can relax a bit more now because my mission is already, I got a lot of information and I hope it will continue.
Yeah.
And I hope I will see new faces because with these alumni events, I lived abroad a lot in many countries, and I see that most of the time the same people show up. So that does not add value at a certain point in time.
Right.
But I think with an alumni network with 4,500 people working in London, no, I think 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, 3,000 and 4.5 in total UK. I think that makes the diversification probability quite high. Mm-hmm. So that's what I already have. The last 2 days I got a lot, and maybe I will get some more this evening. But I'm already a happy chappy.
Well, that's a great note to end this podcast on.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, or any advice you would have for other startups who may want to expand to the UK?
Yeah. Well, I haven't expanded yet, so I'm not the big guru on that. But as a startup mentor, but also as a starter upper myself, I think about it. Don't hesitate, just do it.
Well, and on that note, this is our podcast. Ronald, thank you so much for being my guest today, and enjoy the rest of the mission.
Vera, thank you much for your time, and thank you. Have fun. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.